Hold on to see if you start hearing some sound. Yeah, it should reverb. So see if you hear that. Hold on to see if you start hearing some sound. Yeah, it should reverb. So see if you hear that. Reverb. All right. I'm going to mumble for a second to see if you hear this. Anything else? I'm just like, this thing? Right here. All right. Okay. Can everybody hear me? I think the second floor can hear me at this point. Excellent. So if you haven't already, grab something to drink, grab some food. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of start some quick intros. Thank you for joining us here this evening. Welcome to our 21st, I think, meetup here at NoVA. Yeah, how about that, huh? So my name is Jim Lane. I'm Vice President of User Experience here at AddThis. You'll be hearing more about AddThis later this evening. And I founded the meetup. This is Kit Unger, who's a co-organizer here at the meetup. She's going to be monitoring our live stream, which we really hope is working now. I really, really hope. Yeah. So some quick administrative stuff. If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, the Twitter handle is NoVA Meetup. Whenever we tweet, we usually use the hashtag NoVAUX because it's less annoying to type. So please feel free to tweet this evening. Take pictures if you like. And you know what? I forgot to ask. I think that Wi-Fi information is this. I didn't update it. So I think it's, I believe if anybody's trying to connect, the username is atguest, and the password is AT12345AT. If anyone's trying, I don't know if anybody's actually trying, but I know, we get creative with our passwords. This is my email address, jim@advis.com. You can follow me on Twitter at JimLaneNova. And Kit is kitunger@yahoo.com. You can follow her at kitunger. And tonight's presenters, I'll introduce them a little bit. A team from here at AddThis is going to talk about AddThis Pro. But first, two cool things tonight. First, at the end of the evening, we're going to raffle off a lifetime subscription to AddThis Pro, which is like 140 some bucks a year or something like that. So that's kind of cool. We'll be doing that. And but first, our sponsor this month, who couldn't be here to join us because they're on the West Coast, this is Jared Spool's company, UIE, User Interaction something or other. But they have a service called All You Can Learn Library, which is, it's actually really cool. It's a bunch of seminars that are taped. You can watch all kinds of UX seminars, tons of topics, a lot of awesome content. They've offered all of us a 60-day, so 2 months, full access to their whole library. And you can get to that by going to this URL, uie.com/nova, and check that out for 2 months for free. So that's really pretty cool. So huge thanks to them. And they couldn't be here tonight because they're on the other side of the country, but just to say hello and come check it out. So that's that. Excellent. Let's see. So I already talked about the raffle at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce the speakers. So tonight you're going to hear from 3 folks here at AddThis. This is the team that built the premium version of our product called AddThis Pro, and they're here to talk to you about that process. Dave Jays is going to start first. He is our UX researcher, followed by Solchea, who is our lead developer, and then Jeff Wong's going to wrap it up. He is our executive, what are you now? Executive creative director? Excellent. Tell you a little bit about how they did that and what was the process they went through, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic off to Dave and get their slides set up, and we'll get underway. Thanks. Just unmute.
Hey everybody, can you hear me? In the back? Yeah? Okay, great. So my name's Dave Jays. As Jim mentioned, I am the resident UX researcher here at AddThis. Probably the coolest job ever. Not a whole lot of companies that I've worked for have a resident UX researcher, and especially none that have such a huge base and such a huge and fun, interesting product. I got the clip, but the mic fell. Let's see if I can make this work. I need a UX person. There we go. All right. And so if you're not familiar with AddThis, then shame on you. No, we're not just the place to come to a meetup in Northern Virginia. We're also probably the best known product we have is just simple sharing buttons. And so based on those sharing buttons, we've been distributing free tools both for sharing, following, welcome bar, content recommendations to websites around the world, and that's been our bread and butter. We're on over 13 million domains we see every month that are using our tools. That is in front of 1.7 billion unique users, and that's 94 billion views of our tools. So just this hugely massive scale, right? Aside from the amount that the tools are seen, just that number of users, right, that are using our tools. Most of them, they come in, they grab the tools. It's very quick. It's very easy. We've worked very hard to streamline that process. 80% of them are actually from outside the U.S., and only 40% of them, or actually 40% of them, English is not their native language, right? So we're dealing with people all around the world every day. All of our conference rooms here, we have cameras, we have web conferencing set up. And so my job, feel bad for me. I talk to people every day in different parts of the world with interesting websites, e-commerce, blogs, magazines, consulting services, things like that. Greece, Ireland, Portland, all of that good stuff. And so we've built this huge base, something we're very fortunate to have, this huge, large community. But it came time where we wanted to look at monetizing the product, right? Everybody hits that point at some point, like what's in this for me, right? And so we started talking to users, and we really kind of, we want to change the relationship a little bit, right? People have just been kind of stopping by. You want tools? That's fine. Let's, we'll get you some tools. We'll get you out of here. But now we want to talk about, maybe a little something more, right? And so some people, you have different reactions, right? Like, what are you looking for? What does that look like? What are you offering, right? What's that cost me? And so what I'm going to talk about a little bit is the process that we use to arrive at Add This Pro, some of the techniques we used, and some of kind of the more interesting findings that we had. And so we start out, it's a pretty standard research process. You explore, you iterate, you optimize, right? You continue to learn throughout that process. And so we start with the explore phase, right? And we started with some good core thoughts, right? Trends around native advertising, trends around other tools that we have. And we asked users, what do you think of these? How do those work? And then, they didn't know exactly what to make of it, right? So we have a pretty simple business model. We give people website tools for free, right? And so when we started talking about kind of more complex things, they're not always sure what to make of it. And so we asked something else, if we were to give you something premium, or if we were to tell you we're getting ready to release Add This Pro, what does that look like? And we started asking people that question, and it broadened the discussion a little bit more, where they started to say, well, is it more analytics, right? And it could be more analytics. That's a good guess, right? You look at Hootsuite Pro, you get a little bit more analytics, things like that. But the fact is, not everybody uses all of our analytics, and so that might be kind of limiting the market. But we talked to people in interviews, we did surveys, competitive analysis, we did some crazy stuff, Kano analysis. I don't know if anybody here has done that. What do you think if you include this? What do you think if you don't include this? I wouldn't use it. It's a little tough for people to understand. But we started to dream up what is Add This Pro. And we had a couple of different things, but it's just blue sky, right? And ultimately, before you start building things and bringing the engineering team into full gear, you want to have some idea of what's going to be on that billboard. What does that look like? And so we dreamed up a couple different ideas, actually. Full product concepts, right? Add This Pro, premium analytics. Add This Pro, premium welcome bar conversion suite, right? Add This Pro, more great tools from Add This, right? And what we did is we tested those live. We have 2.5 million visitors come to our website every month, and a lot of them are getting tools. And so what we did is people who grabbed our sharing tools, we put up a quick promo and said, hey, Add This Pro, here's a great idea. Do you want to be notified when this comes out, right? And some of those concepts we knew pretty sure they weren't necessarily it, but we wanted to get an idea what was the demand for those different services, right? And so what we found was that there were a couple of different tools that we offer that are really interesting, but ultimately, we did see a lot of traction around, hey, Add This, you guys make great tools, right? And so other things, we had other concepts in mind. What if we could help you control them easier? What if we could make it easier for you to do that? And we continued to iterate on those, right? And so in the iteration phase, a lot of standard tools that you probably have seen, right? You come out with mocks, you user test them, do they make sense? Can people find particular functions, things like that? And then, we started to feel a little bit better that we were onto something, and we had to answer the question, what does this cost, right? Like, we're introducing something brand new to the market, and we have no idea necessarily how people value it or what that price should be. And so this is where we borrowed some techniques from market research, really. There's a couple ways you can get a price, people's willingness to pay. And if you ask them, hey, what are you willing to pay? Well, less than I really think it's worth, right? And then you have some really complex models where it's like conjoint analysis, and it's, which features are worth which prices and things like that, which gets to be pretty heavy statistical analysis. And so what we did was something kind of in between, and we basically said, we asked, use the Van Westendorp method. And that's a pretty basic market research technique where you ask people 4 questions in a survey. What price would this particular product be cheap and you'd think it's kind of shoddy? What price would this be like a great bargain for you? What price is it starting to get expensive and you're getting a little uncomfortable? And what price can you just not consider it at, right? And you're still going to get a little bit of, hey, a little less than I might value it at. But where those points intersect, you can look at the distribution of them and ultimately figure out what a price range is, what the ideal price is, and what the market price is for those tools. And so that's an established technique. If you're interested in it, I can give you tons of research papers on it. My card's over there. I don't want to get too into it because it's Van Westendorp method after Peter Van Westendorp. And so then we got Add This Pro out there. It's been out there, I guess, 6 weeks. It's all been kind of a blur, actually. And we intentionally launched as quickly and as lean a product as we could, right? We wanted to come up with absolutely the minimum viable product, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, nothing completely full-featured, but something that was a good concept that people could give feedback on. And they really have. And so using a couple different methods, right? So you have standard, Google Analytics to measure website traffic. We started using KISS metrics, right? If you're working with a paid product or an e-commerce product, KISS metrics gives you unparalleled ability to see individual users, their behavior, manage different funnels, manage cohorts, and so that's a fantastic tool for sign-up projects. And then continuing to just ask user tests. Hey, how's the first time user experience? Do you understand what these tools are? Do you understand their value, right? Are they working for you? And so we've also done a survey to say, hey, what's missing, right? So we got it probably 80% there. What did we miss? And it's been really helpful because there's a number of features that we could continue to develop. Content promotion, more content tools, more sharing tools, more mobile tools, right? And what people said is, hey, your core competency is mobile tools, right? They're really great. Mobile is becoming, or your core competency is social tools. Mobile is becoming a huge trend, and developing social tools for responsive websites is sometimes challenging, right? To create the ideal experience. So we want more of that. We want more tools from Add This. We want more things that look great. Did we get everything right in the launch? I can't say that we necessarily did. We're still continuing to learn, and that's part of, I guess, being a really lean product team. Is you got to intentionally be willing to get out there, to take chances in public, to take feedback, and to continue to learn. And that's what really helps you kind of get a little bit closer to the mark. And so ultimately, we're getting a little bit closer there. If you have questions about the UX research kind of side of things, we'll take questions at the end. But now we're gonna talk to Saul, and he's gonna give us a quick preview or a tour of Add This Pro. Demo time.
Can I ask a general or background question? The idea for this kind of comes from the top down, and people at the top say, hey, we want to cover Pro, or was it more of a bottom-up thing, or you guys said, hey, we want to.
So all of these things kind of meet in the middle a little bit. So there was any good parent or investor or boss is going to say, hey, you guys have been building free tools for a while. Eventually, you got to move out of the basement and start paying your bills, right? But also, we had users that were saying, hey, we'd pay you for support. We'd pay you, and there's a pretty established market, I would say, for paid plugins and things like that. And so some of the concepts that came top down, we talked about some of them, and some of them worked, and some of them worked less. And so, ultimately, we started out with a hypothesis, which any good researcher or scientist should do, right? And then we tested that, and we learned from it, and ultimately, users drove a lot of the features, and ultimately, what Add This Pro is becoming. Yeah, I mean, it's there. Some people, it's tough because unless you do like a broad market survey, right? There's times to go big and leverage the entire community to use more, market research kind of techniques like surveys, things like that. We heard it anecdotally, and there was interest there, right? And proven business models and competitors in that industry. So we feel like it's a good market, absolutely, and we feel like we're building the right tools to make it successful. So okay.
That's Hi guys, Saul here, lead developer for the Add This Pro product. So I'm doing something really risky, and maybe somebody will convince me not to. I'm actually going to show you guys a live demo off of our dev environment. So basically, this is a continuously site that's being built. So if one of my developer friends on the team wants to, they could go and commit some code, and it'll show up instantly on the screen. So against their judgment of doing a stable production demo, I'm going to show you the coolest, newest stuff that we have going on. But we're going to go with this. Slight delay there, but we'll go ahead and kind of get started with Add This Pro. So hopefully everyone is at least familiar with Add This Pro as a premium suite of our tools. And so the main kind of control is this new Add This Pro dashboard. So as a publisher, website owner, you would have access to this Pro dashboard. And really the power that we are trying to give to publishers. Yes?
Can you quickly summarize what Add This Pro gives you?
Should I pull up the Pro page?
Like the quick version.
Yeah, definitely. So Add This Pro, the features that you get over, say, regular Add This user is the Pro features. So we have Pro widgets that only Add This Pro users will have access to. You have access to a premium personalized content recommendations. So kind of a high level, the recommendations are typically trending, and so we show what's trending on your site, what's viral, what's being shared a lot. But if it's personalized, what we do is based on your visitors' interest, which we know because we see 1.5 billion users, a month across 14 million sites. We basically know that they might be into sports or food, things like that. We apply that interest against all your content, and we basically reprioritize, re-rank your content. So we're showing them what we think is the most relevant and most interesting to them. In addition, you have the ability to basically deploy any of the tools, both the basic tools and the Pro tools, without any code changes. So typically, you come to our site, you grab a snippet of JavaScript, you put in your sites. If you want to change it, you have to update that code. So that's talking to developers, potentially going through release cycles. But with Add This Pro, you come to your fancy dashboard, and basically you can just flip a few toggles, a few switches, hit save, and that instantly gets pushed out to your site. And this is using our distributed network. So basically we have cache CDN across the globe. So basically we're pushing out changes to every part of the world, and basically your changes are instantly live. So there's no delay, there's no working with developers, because as a developer I know I'm difficult to work with, so you can avoid me completely. And then, is there anything else am I missing at this Pro? Top features? I think that those are the top ones. Okay. So back to the demo. Again, this is what happens when you use a dev site. You will get errors. So I'm just going to ignore that one, but show the best part, which is our wonderful tool gallery. So basically, these are the tools that everyone knows us for. So sharing buttons, follow buttons, content recommendations, and basically on any one of these that you want, you basically can hit setup, come in, change any options that you want. You get a live preview of the actual tool in the preview area, and all you have to do is hit save, and like I said, it instantly gets pushed out to your site. So this is probably one of the most powerful and dangerous features because a lot of people don't realize it, but you probably have Add This code all over your site. And so if you're an existing Add This user, you have the ability to basically make changes from this dashboard without anyone even knowing what you're doing. Like your website, developers won't even know if you're enabling tools, but it's really cool that in the future when you want to enable a new sharing tool, a new following tool, a new recommended content, and then some other features such as promoting content, things like that, you can do that really easily from the dashboard. Of course, we have our suite of analytics, just like we always do. We'd like to give you guys insight into your content, into what's being shared, what's causing people to follow your content, and even what's going viral. In addition to that, we have, oh, I forgot to actually activate a tool on my site. Hold on one second. And I'm suffering what I was worried about. Not sure what's going on. Okay, you guys will just have to, guy gave an error message. You'll have to trust me on the fact of promoting content. But basically, by being able to promote content, you can basically select a URL from your entire inventory, so anything that you have on your site, or potentially say you have a friend or someone else who you want to help promote their site, you can take that URL and drop it into one of the recommended widgets. And we'll basically inject that into your recommended content. We do attribute it as being promoted, so that way visitors know that this is essentially off-domain content, that you might be taking them to another site, but they all know that. And then you have a way to basically control what's being shown in all the recommended content widgets. And let's see. I'm trying to find one of the other features. Okay. Fortunately, that's not going to work. Okay, I guess I have to show you guys the stable, nice production site. Was it your fault, Franco? No. Okay, there we go. Really quickly showing you promoting content. So, oh, actually, I forgot to show the other part of it, which is I want to show a quick site with all these tools. So, really great tip as you're building tools like this is to actually put yourself in the shoes of a website owner publisher, which is what I've done and spent actually probably way too much time creating my own blog, putting tons of content on it to actually see what it's like to be a website owner. And here you can see kind of all our tools. Let me actually jump into one. You'll see our follow tool on the top right here, share buttons with share counters on the left-hand side, our content drawer with a whole little library of your recommended content. We have another one. You can do a vertical inline unit here as well. More share buttons, of course. Toaster in the bottom right-hand corner. And then a nice content footer here where you can basically have, if somebody reaches the end of the article, they'll have things suggested to them that they could read. And again, these are all customizable. This is all being pushed out from my dashboard. So basically, if I go into the dashboard, you'll see all of these enabled. I can make a change to one of them, hit save, come back here, refresh, and you'll see the changes live. So that in a nutshell is Add This Pro and a demo of it. But what I really kind of wanted to hopefully share with you guys is kind of the experience we had building Add This Pro. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that, let me go back to the dashboard, is while I'm super proud of what we built here, if you had asked me or if you had tried to get us to tell you what we're going to build 8 months ago, it was completely different. That is the first thing, as a good product team, is to expect change. Startups these days, it's called a pivot. You change, drastically, go in a different direction. That's why you tell VCs to get money. We call that every Tuesday and Thursday, because basically we're moving that quickly. Every Tuesday and Thursday, while working at Add This Pro, we had meetings, and in those meetings, Dave would be sharing feedback from customers. So basically, people telling him, here's what we think of your ideas, your concepts, your mock-ups. We tried clicking through it. Here's what we liked, what we didn't like, and right there, we quickly would decide, okay, well, based off of that, do we continue on this path or do we move down a different path? 8 months ago, we were talking about heavy personalization, heavy boosting, that promote feature I showed. We were talking about all kinds of different permutations of that where a website owner could go in and target, specific geos, specific times, specific interest groups, and show the content to. Unfortunately, at scale, our audience, didn't really pick up on that. A lot of people said it was interesting, but a lot of people said, I don't know if I could use this, on a regular basis. What they did say was, we love your sharing tools. We love your follow tools. We love how easy you make everything. That ease of use was actually the biggest thing for us, because everyone said, we love this because you guys make things so simple. And so we're like, well, let's capitalize on that. How do we make that better? So that's where this entire dashboard came in. We decided to take our current infrastructure and extend it and make it even easier for people. So one of the common complaints, and actually our support team can echo this, is people get confused modifying JavaScript, working with APIs, trying to figure out things. So if we make it simple and we make it drag and drop, we make it drop downs and toggles, everyone suddenly was like, oh my gosh, this is like a revelation. We love it. I'm sure everyone's used to like being able to do that, but to manage your website, this is actually a pretty cool way to do it. So biggest thing for a product team is expect change and do it often. One of the hardest things for us was we had our mind set on this feature set originally, and it really took a lot of discussions, a lot of time, and probably more than it should have to actually realize that we were probably going down the wrong path. But it's probably the most valuable thing that we did. And as a team, you really have to trust one another and also talk about these things. It's a hard question to say, hey, are we doing something wrong? But it's a question you should be asking yourself, and you should, even if it's with another person, just bounce that idea off. Be like, are we going down the right path? Is this really what we should be building? And be honest with yourselves. And then the last thing I want to kind of end with is actually what we ended with every single product cycle is kind of a retrospective. A lot of teams talk about doing retrospectives, and we sometimes don't do a good job of retrospectives, but we've really taken to heart in the past couple quarters doing full team product retrospectives where we talk to everybody in the team from QA, development, UX design, support, social, and basically try to figure out what can we have done better the next time around. And we actually made a lot of changes. So one of the big changes was we had way too many people and way too many meetings. It took 10 people to make a decision of where a button went on the page, and we just realized that was super inefficient. So we said, really, features should be owned by a single feature owner. They should have designated points of contact for development, design, ideally eventually QA, but basically let them run with it. Let them do it, let them figure it out. If it eventually gets built and it's wrong, they're the ones who are going to fix it. Trust them to do that, and you'll be in better shape than if you micromanage and if you try to make everyone work together, or not work together, but make everyone vote on this one feature. It's just hugely inefficient. The other thing was actually we did a disservice to ourselves with our QA team. They gave us feedback that we were moving so quickly and we were changing things on them so that they couldn't test anything. And as a product team, you want to move quickly, but you don't want to hinder the QA process, because obviously they're the ones who are catching the bugs, catching the problems that we're trying to fix. So we decided, what we really need to do is actually do a better job of documentation ahead of time. So before we send anything over to QA, before we make any changes, there really should be some accountability, some track record of what needs or what was changed, and so they know what to test on their side. So these are the kind of things that easy to say, and a lot of times with retrospectives, you talk about the problems, but really make them actionable, make them changes that everyone embraces, everyone gets kind of a say in. And that way you can improve the next time you do this. And you just see things move faster and faster. The speed that we're moving now compared to a year ago, to me, is unbelievable. We have a great team, but we have now a great team that knows how to work together and knows how to work together fast. So, Add This Pro took several months of actual dev work to do. The next iterations are, happening even faster at this point. And I personally can't be prouder of the team. And hopefully you guys can learn some of the lessons and learn from our mistakes, as well as learn from some things that we realized were the right way of doing stuff. So with that, I'm going to pass things off to Jeff.
Hello. All right. I haven't done a sure, yeah, we can go back to that. I haven't done a kind of a meetup talk in a long time, so pretty excited to be up here, and I'm actually really excited that all you guys are out there. Interested in learning a little bit more about what we do, but I'm going to try to talk a little about ourselves, and maybe try to turn it around, and maybe you guys can start thinking about how. Wow, this is really loud. How this can apply to you. So less about us. We talked a lot about ourselves, and we want to talk a little bit more about how this will work for you. I've gone to a lot of meetups, and it's hard for me to extract what I can use. So I want to give you guys kind of the key nuggets that I learned from it. So I'm the creative director here. but that's just a fancy title for lead designer. So I work with the devs and the researcher, and it's not just me doing all the work here. It's an entire team coming together. Let's do a quick raise of hands. How many designers do we have here? Like UX, UI designers? Raise your hands. All right, a lot of them. Awesome. What about developers? Developers and designers. I like it. What about kind of just entrepreneurs? Entrepreneurs, run your own company, etc. Okay. So we have a wide variety. How about small company, less than 10 people? Okay. Less than 100? And above 100? Okay. Awesome. That helps me understand like maybe how I can apply some of the information to you guys. So let's keep it real simple. I like threes. So let's just try to remember 3 things from tonight. So the first thing that I want to kind of give you like kind of the secret, like the secret sauce that we kind of learned. If I were to go to any company and try to advise, what would I try to tell them? It's the most obvious one, which is, and so all the UX, UI designers, you guys already know this. Know your customers, and you're probably telling everybody you have to know who you're selling your product to. And for us, we have a lot of audience. You can't make everybody happy. We try to sell our product to like this kind of person, this kind of blogger, this kind of company. And what you have to do is you have to just say, we can't make everybody happy. So you have to know who your audience is. Who are they? What do they want from you? What's your secret sauce? Why are they coming to you for your business? Okay, and this summarizes it really well. Starbucks coffee. What do they want when they go there? They want coffee. You can go there and you can try to get a lot of different things. You can try to get ice cream, tea, like little cookies and things. But ultimately, people want to go there for the experience, for the coffee. And so when we turn this around, we ask ourselves about add this. And when you look at your own company, ask yourself, what is it that they're coming there for? So you can sell them a lot of things, but they're there for a reason. So you guys are already have success with your company. What is it that's making that success for you? Okay? Us. These little buttons right here. We've had them for a long time. When we acquired add this is what made us successful. This was kind of the wave that we kind of rode. And so when you look at this is what helped us grow our company, help us grow everything. And our audience, when they came to us, when we asked ourselves, like, we want to go to like a pro model, try to monetize our products, we had to start with what will they come back for? And it's not just like, we have a lot of products, kind of like Starbucks. There's a lot of different things, but ultimately, there's the buttons. It's so simple. When you look at the search, when you go to Google Analytics and you look at why are people coming back, it's because of these buttons. I'm gonna stand over here, change things up, make sure you guys are still awake. Here we go. And so, pre-graph. This is, I don't know if there's any product managers out there. This is not a real product graph, but it's just to demonstrate a basic concept for our audience. So what you have over here is like head, torso, tail. This is our audience, the people that come here, okay, to add this. An example of a head publisher is someone like Home Depot. They have a lot of traffic, super big website. They get a lot of traffic, and yeah, that's awesome. And we also have torso. These are like kind of like the sites that get a lot of traffic, but not as big as like the super big ones. And then we have tail. And what does that mean? These are like people like myself. I have a blog, and I probably get like less than 5,000 clicks per month. And so we have this. It's called the long tail. Everybody familiar with that term? Head, torso, tail. Okay, cool. So this is a very common way of explaining your audience. Sorry, I'm getting reverb here. And then we have this other graph, and this is an inversed Y graph, and it shows money. Okay, so this is what you guys are interested in. So money, we have head, torso, tail, and when we look at this, we try to know our audience. We're trying to develop something that has meaning for the user, for our customers, but also, put it behind me. Okay.
Yeah, that's too close to the wall.
Oh.
No, that's not the way. It's just he's holding the receiver.
I'm sorry. Thanks, guys, for being patient. Thanks for being patient. This has been a while since I've done this, so if I look like stand awkward or something, then. All right. So where was I? Yeah. So head, torso, tail, and then there's like money. Okay. This is what you guys are interested in. This is what we're interested in as well. But it's not just making a lot of money. It's trying to figure out like what's going to make the user happy. So to find the balance of adding value, building the product for the user, but also maybe in return you have the permission to ask for a little bit of cash. And we did a survey, and and Dave can talk to Dave about it, and also Durant, he's there. they can tell you exactly how they figured out exactly the $12 price point. Okay, so ask them about that. I don't know all the science behind it, but we figured out it was $12, and it was in their tail. The potential to scale our business was not in growing all of this here. I mean, there's very little money here. So you have these publishers that are really big, but there's not a lot of opportunity for growth. Our growth is really in our tail, and so what we want to do is we want to start here with the product, and then move our way up. So maybe there's like start off with Pro, maybe up Enterprise in the future. Shoot, I'm still having problems, guys. So sorry. So that's that. So ultimately, you have to know your audience, and you have to do a graph, something like this, and this will help you maybe explain to your boss, or if you're the boss, like you can explain to everybody else what you're trying to do. Every company is going to be different, so don't use this graph and say this is your model there. Every company is going to have a sweet spot, and you're going to have an audience, a different audience, and you have to figure out what's going to make the best opportunity for you. Okay, so that was number one. Number two, ride the wave. So add this, again, I mentioned the buttons. What does that mean to ride the wave? So it's easy to go and try to develop a lot of different things, follow a shiny new object, look at a competitor's new features. And the best value you can do for your company is to just say, stop. Let's look at the success that we have. We already have customers coming in. People are already coming to our homepage. They're already getting something, and you want to monetize it. So what value can you build on top of that versus trying to say we need to start all over? Because if you have that problem, that's a different thing. Going freemium won't help you. Okay? So ride the wave. And a good graph to start with seems very simple. You guys probably already know this, but if you want to communicate to the rest of your team, how do you start creating a free and a pro kind of product? You want to start with a basic graph like this. So you see a lot of lorem ipsum here. We had our own things filled in here, but it was very, very easy. It became very clear to us what we could offer. And when this list started getting too long, we discovered that the product was very hard to describe. You want something that's very simple, very easy to explain to somebody. And you want to be able to delineate the difference between free and pro in a very simple way. Okay? And another exercise to do, kind of riding that wave, is this is like, I usually like to do this exercise. It's like the perfect tweet. It's like writing your own blog post about a product that's about to go out. The perfect tweet, and you put a picture there, and this person, this is made up, but we do have tweets like this now. And this is kind of like reaching for the stars. When you're talking to your team, you're aspiring to say, this is what we want to reach when we're building this product. We want them to feel like this, and this is why they're going to pay money, right? So you want to ride that wave. All right, so secret number 3, okay? Last secret is foosball. So what everybody knows foosballs is, right? Okay, so we're a startup, we have a foosball, we take it really seriously. So serious that we do push-ups when people lose. So we always make these side bets. And so wait, raise your hand if you've done above 200 push-ups today. Greg Franco, everybody. Round of applause. Woo! So the secret is foosball. What the hell does that have to do with making money? Well, you have to have the team that has really good chemistry, and you have to play to each other's strength. And that's the thing that we do. After our meetings and this and that, we get together and we go to the game room. And it's not just always working on the product. You're kind of multitasking. You're kind of dual processing. And good ideas come together. So you guys are the catalyst. You guys are the creative catalyst of your company. Go in there, start something, and not just like say, here are the graphs. Here are all the things we need to do. You have to get people behind that vision. And if you can do that, then you have permission to take them to that next level. So play foosball or find your own foosball. Let's talk like a little bit more tactically. So something actually like less touchy-feely kind of stuff. Like so spreadsheets. How do we keep organized between our teams? Okay, so this is actually a little secret that I have, not a big secret, but it's just basically 3 spreadsheets. You can use any program you want, but this is what I like, this is what I recommend. We have a doc for when we start a project. When you're just like saying, like, blue sky, we need to make money with this product. What we like to do is to manage upward, we just start a doc and say, hey, let's write down all the open questions that we have, okay? So I see someone nodding head. It's like, yeah, you have a lot of questions about this product and things that you want to know about your user, just go ahead and put it in there. And then what you need to do is prioritize them. And when you prioritize them, then you can just say, well, these questions really don't matter. Really, it's these 3 or 4 questions that we need to address right away. And if you have the luxury of having Dave or a researcher, get them on it. Get them to talk to users. Get them to know your audience, right? So start figuring that out. The second thing is we create a timeline. So this is not a It's not a project management meetup here, but it's good to know a little bit about project management. Like you want to have these questions, you want to have an idea in your mind. And for Add This, what was successful for us is we created a timeline, but not just not your typical timeline. We kind of did one where we set an arbitrary date, and that sounds like ridiculous. So you're like, there's this point out on the horizon in like 3 months, and we're going to hit it. And most people would walk away from that. I know a lot of designers, developers would be like, there's no way we're going to scope anything out like that. But I can tell you that at least if you have the right team, you have the right chemistry. Remember, you have the right chemistry. You might be able to work with them and say, okay, we have a list of features, okay? And you work with them with the timeline and work backwards from it and just say, how do we start subtracting things out? Special word. I see people nodding their heads. Subtract. Remove the features. Get rid of the features that really don't matter so you can hit that date. So ultimately, the challenge is not necessarily build the whole product and spend all that money and time and resource to build a full product. Your goal, if you're trying to build something like Add This or some sort of pro product, is how can you prove that concept that someone's willing to pull $12 out of their pocket to subscribe for whatever you're selling. And so you need to get that into the market as fast as possible. So build 50% of it. Build less. Get it out there. And if it doesn't work, you didn't waste everybody's time. Very simple, right? So open questions, timeline, feature list, and if you can build the chemistry around that, play foosball, people will trust you, hopefully. And if you let them win occasionally, like Franco, he'll help you out. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay. Some more tangible things. All right, the slide works. So for the designers out there, so I saw a lot of designers raise their hand. So what do I do as a designer to help kind of communicate to other people? I have a pin board. So I look at the competitors. I look at the products that are out there. For us, like we looked at like Spotify. We looked at things that were similar freemium models, and we looked at a lot of other companies that were similar to what we wanted to achieve. And the good news about that is you don't have to invent something completely new. This kind of stuff has already been done by a lot of other companies, and a lot of other companies are making a lot of money doing that. So you don't have to completely like reinvent things. I mean, the entrepreneurs, yes, but for everybody else, you can borrow some of those ideas out there. So pinboard, concept wall. So we have this wall over here, and we print out we kill a lot of trees. We print out a lot of different ideas, and we get everybody to look at it. Try to grab people 5 minutes a day. Just look at those ideas. Try to get that momentum. That's the most important thing that you can build. The other thing that we try to do as far as like building that team chemistry is you see in the background, that's some of our developers and designers, and what we do is we get everybody sitting together, and we try to optimize even that. So what that means is we'll rearrange our seating. We have open seating. If you don't have open seating, just try to get people like that's working on this kind of product. Get a small team, get them working on it right now. Don't wait until like they're working at home or whatever. Like get them in the same room and get them to work on this problem as fast as you can. And then the last kind of thing is to help the rest of your team, so the designers out there, to help the rest of your team know what the heck this thing is. You guys are visual, so think in terms with that language. Start mocking up things. Put it inside some sort of tablet. Show them like this is the potential. This is what it could be. This is what you want it to be. This is the first time kind of pro experience. What does the first 24 hours feel like? So when you start thinking like that, when someone clicks on this button on your homepage, right? Whatever homepage you have, they click on this. I'm subscribing money. What happens after the first 24, 48 hours? How do you get them to come back? It's not just getting them to click that money to pay for you. It's to get them to continually come back, right? So this is really important to get people to start understanding what you're talking about. Okay, so I lied. There's actually a fourth bonus secret. Again, this is all about you guys. It's not about me. We could take a lot of questions and this and that, but I think the most valuable thing, so the one nugget, the most valuable thing that I learned from this whole entire process and from this company is that we created user groups. And so all the UX people out there, what is a user group? This is where you have like ideas and people that can look at your product and they can give you feedback about it. Hopefully they're your customer. So create a user group. So the best thing you do is look at the person like right next to you and just ask them for their contact information. Get their business card and build that user group. That's going to be the most valuable thing that you can do probably tonight, because everybody here, I mean, you guys are going to be the miracle of your company, at least the way I see it. Like, you're spending time coming all the way out to fighting Tyson's Corner traffic, etc. It's terrible. It's like nasty weather, etc. You guys are coming out here and you guys are taking the extra time. So the best thing you could do, like, I know there's a lot of things that you learned tonight, but the best thing I honestly can advice and give is, turn to the person right next to you, get their contact information, build that network, and get them to look at your product. Start asking questions. Some fresh pair of eyes. That's the best thing you can do. So anyways, I just want to thank everybody. Really appreciate you guys having me up here. Sorry about the lousy audio. I'm not too good at this. So I'm going to work on it. I'll probably do a couple more if you guys like me. All right?
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Going on to that. So you guys come on out. Why don't we go ahead and say if anybody has any questions for these guys? Let's go ahead and open it up to the floor. If you're going to answer, just grab the mic so the folks on video can hear you and repeat the question because the people on the live stream can't hear you.
Should we take?
Sure.
Well, I was just going to ask, what's been your most popular feature since you've been out?
They would know.
Sure. So really, so the question was, what's our most popular feature? And so it's actually, what's amazing is once people start using the dashboard and start switching things on, they get so excited and they just turn all kinds of things on. So people put on a mix of sharing and the content recommendation tools, and they really like, especially the sharing sidebar with the counters, that's brand new. We just came out with that. And then the content drawer that you saw there, that's like a very popular combination. The other thing is that what's next, the toaster thing that pops up as you're scrolling down, most companies that offer that on the market right now offer that as a paid-only feature. You can get that from us for free. You just have to keep managing your code, and it'd be terrible, and so you might as well try Pro.
For both of you guys, and talking about the user being user-driven, you talked about it with helping you figure out the price points and having user panels. You talked about also the process. So my question is, number one, how rapid will it kind of hit those loops that you did keep going back to users? And you mentioned Tuesdays and Thursdays, bringing back that feedback. Were you using the same user panels, or you keep changing the user groups?
Sure. So it depends. There's a, oh, sorry, I got to repeat the question. Remember. So the question was about our user research. How often were the feedback loops? How often did we reuse the same people? And how quickly did we react to that feedback? And so I have to say that we're really blessed to have such a huge user community. We have a user group of people that are very, very engaged, and so. The tweet that you saw, that's a real person. We hang out with her a lot. And so there are times when you do big user research, I like to call it, and times where you do very specific, going big, and sometimes you go home, right? And so with a website that has 2.5 million visitors every month, we can do surveys and we can recruit new users very rapidly. And so you want to do that and get different people and get, especially when you have a directional question, you want to try and reach as many people and get as many votes as you can, right? When you're talking about, hey, does this make sense? Can you find this particular piece of the UI? Can you complete this task? Right? That's when you do more specific one-on-one. And so what we've tended to do is it really depends on the questions that are in that open questions. That's kind of my to-do list, and it's as long as it looks. So it's real important to prioritize what your questions are. And then to use the right research method for them. And so we will do surveys. Hey, we have this question on Monday. You gotta give people time to get feedback, but we'll have feedback sometimes Thursday. We work a lot of times in 2-week sprints. And so every time something comes out and we make changes based on feedback, we want to user test it again. And so all of those feedback loops are very quick. They're iterative, and they don't necessarily wait for the Tuesday, Thursday meetings. We're talking all the time. I have to say that Saul, he says he's an engineer, but he was in almost as many user tests as I was. And so to have an entire team that's really focused around getting feedback from the user is really a great key to being able to get feedback and then change rapidly.
Oh, okay. Just real quick to add to that, definitely want to say echo what Dave was talking about. He's being a little modest. So in the actual prime of when we had the product ready and we're trying to get as much feedback as possible, Dave was doing 10 sessions a week. So basically, think about a 1-hour session where he's walking somebody through the product, taking notes. I would try to make as many of those as I could. Jeff also did. Definitely from a product, if you're really want to be user-centric, definitely get your developers, get your designers in there to hear that feedback firsthand. Developers are typically not willing to do that, but force them. It really makes a difference. Hearing like somebody say, I don't get why that button's there, or I don't get why you showed me the screen. To us, we're like, that's an user error. That's their fault. But hearing it, you start to realize and start to think like them. So that really makes a big difference. And then I think one of the big things is actually having those constant meetings. And then Tuesday, Thursdays really was a good point, forcing factor of make decisions. Now that we've gotten the feedback, we've heard from 5 people. They all say they hate this. Okay, let's kill that feature and let's build something else. So definitely try to make things fast.
So a question from people online. What were some of the failures or things you thought would be well received but didn't actually work out?
Anyone want to talk?
Yeah, I think you can cover that.
Okay, so the question was, what were some of the failures or things that we thought would work but didn't end up working?
No failures at all.
No failures.
No failures. Perfect. It came out just right. Making money.
Well, you always hear about startups, and they always tell you the story of how they had this serendipitous moment where everything kind of came together. For us, it was, I for probably several months, we had feature sets, kind of built out. We had different teams working on different things. We were moving really quickly. Dave started to show these things to people. So I mentioned the promote feature, where we wanted to give people like really powerful controls of targeting their users and showing them, very specific content. And again, it was a great feature. Everyone said it was interesting. Everyone kind of liked it. But when it came down to, so would you pay for this? That's where we kind of hit that wall where people like things, but if you want to make money off of it, they need to be willing to pay for it. And we didn't get that reception. So that was definitely one of the, I think, first things that we kind of saw. You'll see that it's baked into Add This Pro, and I think we did that on purpose because everyone did say they liked it. Everyone did say they thought it was interesting. So we want to explore that and in some ways educate our users. So that's one of the things about failures is learn from them. Perhaps your user audience isn't ready for a feature, but maybe something scaled back, maybe something simplified is more up their alley, and maybe with that you can actually start to get them thinking the way you want them to think, and eventually monetize that. Either of you want to add anything?
I would say that failure, like you hear a lot of terms, like a lot of people say like fail fast. That one's a common anecdote, but it's not just failing fast. I think the idea is like fail on the small things and win big on the other things. So you have to gamble in this game. So if you're saying like I need to make money, monetize my product, you have to take some bets. And so you just have to figure out like when you can make the big bets. So the small bets you can minimize some of the risk by doing the user tests. You can minimize some of the risk by doing A/B testing. But at some point you're going to have to pull the trigger, and you have to say how do we launch a product out there, and you're going to have to make some bets. And so that costs a little bit more. But if you're willing to put in a little bit, you're able to win big. With what we just recently launched, I could say there's a lot of things that were failures there. Like when you go to our homepage right now, we have I don't know if you go to addthis.com, but our current homepage, we have this button that says like free trial, and it's like this abstract picture of one of our employees like pointing at one of the products. It looks like they're using it, and so we're like that's what we need to go out with. But we're working really quickly, and so we did an A/B test, and we failed on a couple of A/B tests, but we're starting to learn something. We're also starting to learn that there's another way you can present the product where people are willing to pay. It's not just showing the product in that way. We actually, what was the recent test? It was we were showing like a gallery of the tools. So remember back to the point of like give them what they want and just get rid of everything else, get rid of all the interface. You want to try to fail as fast as possible, accept that there will be failures there, but you have to be willing to make the bets to win big.
Sure, absolutely. So the question was about price being part of the product and part of the value proposition, and how do you user test the price? Honestly, I would say don't user test price because it's way too small of a sample size, right? So user tests are great for qualitative information and sometimes for task completion and things like that. but it's just not a very significant sample to be making pricing decisions on. And even pricing decisions, I mean, you probably want to A/B test them if you can, right? And then not just for sign-up rate, you want to look at your yield curve, right? So if I'm raising the price and I'm reducing my conversion rate a little bit, am I increasing the actual profits, right? And so that's something we're still learning, and it's something that's kind of complicated, right? I think something that you're getting at with prices being part of the product is as you increase the value of the product, right? Is the price still on point, right? Or did you pick a price that makes sense with your current feature set, or kind of your longer term promise? And so, but yeah, I would recommend definitely being as quantitative as possible when it comes to money. The executives like it better too. Saw another one. Do you have a question?
Yeah. So you guys talk about team chemistry and startup. How big or small does the core group actually work? You guys obviously. It's kind of crazy.
Do you want to? Sure. So the question was about the size of the team and the startup within the startup. So add this overall is a little bit over 100 people. And so we have data folks, we have systems folks, we have salespeople out there selling ad solutions. The publisher products team is less than 24. The core product team, I would say, that was in those meetings making decisions was 8 or 9 or something like that. So all told, we have maybe 10 developers, 3 designers, one lonely UX researcher, our awesome community manager, and then our fearless leaders. It's coming along, right? Other questions? You're also welcome to come up. We're friendly guys, so if you have other questions, feel free to ask us.
Sort of challenge is football.
Right.
So you've been through the cycle. What are the biggest lessons going to be? The next time you do a startup like this, each of you, what is the most important thing to do differently you did the first time you thought you did?
Yeah, biggest lesson. I think. So for me, and the question was, what would we do differently, or what would we learn, right? I would say mine is more of a learning than differently, because you're always learning, you're always making mistakes and learning from that. But my biggest thing is if you're going to be spending like 14 hours a day and risking everything to build a new product, do it with the right people. Find the right team. They have to be, because there's a couple of axes there. You can have really smart people that don't get along well, or you can have really great people that aren't going to get you anywhere. And so I think that's where we really luck out. At least they're smart and I'm great. So.
So for me, as far as what I would do differently, I think the biggest thing that I learned in this past cycle is choose your battles wisely. Definitely, everyone is strongly opinionated. Everyone has great ideas, but actually, the biggest contribution I think I made at times was to not say anything at all. Don't fight every single thing that you think there can be a better way to do it. Trust everyone and just choose your battles. If it's a big thing that you think is going to actually make a difference to the end result, speak up. But if not, trust your teammates and let them do what they do.
That's a really good question. I actually agree with both of them. That's actually a profound question, But I think if I could, mine's actually the complete opposite. I think so. I agree, but I also disagree. I think that for me, I would say like less of a democracy. So I think if you give sometimes if you give people too many choices and you get too many people involved and you're trying to ask them for all their opinions, I say the hell with their opinions. It's like if you know what's right, just do it. Just do it. If you know what's right in your gut, what's right, you have to trust that gut and you have to just do it and you have to convince them, just trust me on this. And if you don't have that trust between your team, if you haven't earned that kind of chemistry in your team, it's going to be so hard. So next time around, as we do this kind of stuff, it's not that you're like an emperor or a czar or anything like that, but you really have to trust your gut on things, and you have to be willing to, again, like someone asked about, like the failures and things like that. You have to be willing to make some failures and bet. So the greatest mistake that I think we can make is just wasting time like arguing about it. So that's the part I agree. It's like if you say like, well, we need this feature, we need this feature. Remember the pro and free kind of slide? It's like you can argue all day about those things, but the best value that your team can have is to get that product out there as fast as possible, get in front of users and see what they respond to, because everything else is just all assumption. It's all speculation. Very good question. Very good question.
Any other questions? All right. Great. Thank you, guys.
Sorry, broke it.
Going to pieces. And by the way, I'll call him out. Charlie Rivette's here, over there. Say hi. Yo. He is our product lead, so he's really guiding the Pro product. So if you have questions afterwards for any of these guys, or for Charlie, or hell, I'll even take one too, hit us up. We'll be here. And I think I just broke whatever. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. So what else? If you would like to participate in tonight's raffle and have not already written your name on a piece of paper over there by Charlie, I'm throwing it in that very high-tech raffle box that's a U.S. mail thing I use every month. Go ahead and do that now, and we're going to give away a month free of the thing you just saw, which is evidently corgis. Hold on. Free puppies. Let me grab the keyboard over here. And while you guys are jotting your name and throwing it in the box, I'll pull up this other slide real quick. Again, this is free to any of us NoVA UX people. If you go to uie.com/NoVA, you can get a 60-day all-access pass to their all-you-can-learn library, which is a bunch of really cool. I was checking it out. Some really, really cool UX seminars on every topic you can think of. So it's a lot of really cool content. So go check that out. And all of this is going to be archived to YouTube. Takes them about 2 days or so to render the video. So if you want to play this back or share it with your team members, they'll be able to check this out in a couple days on YouTube. And if you want to email any of these guys or tweet to any of us, here's that information from the beginning. So now that I have vamped, has everybody had a chance to put their name in the box? Awesome. Excellent. Charlie, you want to grab it? You want to do the honors?
Oh, yeah.
So this is going to be a free-for-life Add This Pro. So what we're going to have you do is probably have you just contact us after the meetup, maybe tomorrow or whatever. We'll make sure you're set up with an account. We'll flag your account, and basically you'll have Pro free forever. Like as these guys said, it's just the beginning. We're going to be adding a ton of stuff, so it's actually a really cool time to jump in. You ready?
Winner.
Pick a winner. You guys didn't put your names in, did you?
Russell Rhinton.
Russell. Russ. Yeah. Congratulations. Congratulations. You're the winner. I'll hit you up. We'll get you all set up. Congratulations. Excellent. Okay. Thanks, man. So let's see. Next month's meetup. I'm totally going to get this wrong. Is going to be designing for mobile connected devices, and the title sounds a little misleading. This is Citrus, I think is the name of the company. They're a consulting company, and they do tech for wearables and Bluetooth low energy devices. So basically all the cool stuff you're seeing at the conferences, watches and glasses and everything else. So they're going to be talking about design for that. So some of the topics are things like how do you sync, how do you do geofencing, battery life management, all the kind of stuff that's kind of the bigger user experience than just interface, as well as the interface itself. So that's going to be a really, really cool topic. That's up on the site. You can RSVP for it. It is not going to be here. Don't come here next month. It's going to be at Capital One Labs in Arlington. And they've invited us to come check out their space. I hear it's a very, very cool space. So we'll be holding it there. And then probably back here the month after that, which we haven't figured out yet. So let's see. What's next? Oh, MoDev UX is coming up in May. If you have not yet registered, you can go there, register, and use the code NVX14, NoVA UX 14. So NVX14, get 15% off registration. It'll probably keep that going right up into the conference. So if you haven't done that already, go check that out. That'll be really cool. That is here in McLean, just up the road. I think it's usually at the Hilton, not far from here. Very cool. I was there last year. I'll probably be there again. So something we do every month. Who is hiring? Raise your hand. Who's hiring? Great. We're hiring. So do you guys want to say really quickly who you are and your company and what you're looking for?
I'm a lead. I'm with Resident Labs. We're based in Dubai. So we're doing design, user experience, research for enterprise software. We have a couple of huge projects coming up, so we're hiring actively. Design, dev, systems, everything you can name it, including accounting. So yeah, hit me up.
Excellent. And for anybody who's watching the live stream, I'll invite these guys to go post their jobs on the message board on the site. Folks can check it out there rather than trying to pass this mic around, which is a pain in the ass. Who's next? Who else raised their hand? Go ahead. Cool. What was the company again? LinkSpace. Outstanding. Okay, cool. And Charlie.
We talked a lot. If you want to work on that, let me know. If you need Mortal Kombat, let me know. But
Excellent. What positions are you looking for?
development, everything.
Everything.
Operations. You want to hire a designer?
Sure, let's talk.
Let's hire a designer.
Let's hire a designer. Somewhere there's a person in finance twitching right now. Okay, anybody else want to talk about hiring? So if you are looking for a position, if you're looking for a contract, if you are looking for work, find one of those guys or talk amongst yourselves. We've actually had a lot of folks connect through the meetup. We're now almost 870 folks. So you can reach folks through the website, through the message boards. It's just kind of a cool resource. So by all means, please use it. Let's see. That's it for announcements. Anybody else have any announcements, upcoming events folks should know about? Really? Huh? All right. So please help spread the word. We're growing fast. We're on Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Facebook. So spread the word. Bring your friends. Anybody? We're going to get the subway going soon, so folks can come from DC. We'll see how that works out. Because God knows Virginia people don't want to go into the town. But tell folks about us. We'd love to hear from new folks. We get lots of new people every month. Just out of curiosity, how many people are new, first-timers? Yeah, it's like half, which is great. And then also, last thing, if you have any feedback, if you'd like to sponsor, if you'd like to speak, stand up here and do this for an evening. My cards are over there with Dave's. They're the little square orange things. Grab one of those. Drop me an email. Love to hear from you. We're always looking for speakers and events. And so with that, I think we're about done. There's probably still some pizza left. Feel free to hang out, have a beer, grab some more pizza, talk amongst yourselves. The last thing I would ask is if you're near a black chair or sitting in a black chair and can give us a hand carrying said black chairs back to the printer room, that would be awesome. Thank you guys for coming out, and we will see you all next month in Arlington, not here. Thanks, everybody.